Worth Public Library, and you're watching Off the Record with Levi Ray.
Been battling with my demons more than usual lately. Good times are harder to come by. The dark moving closer, ever closer. Not a thing to think away, not a promise not to break. Being a good man is no help, might not be there, if there. But I heard the other day, you've been battling too. I want you to know, I know your battle. I've been battling too. Yeah, I've been battling too. But it's just not enough to give it. I believe in you and I love you. You are more than the harsh light and the mean. I know a little, try to know more. Can only ever be less dark, but I feel as deep as a hurt I can't explain. To give up is much too small, simply not enough. The world is great and big, the heart and we feel it all too much. But it's just not enough to give it. I believe in you and I love you. You are more than the harsh light and the mean. But I heard the other day you've been battling too. I want you to know, I know your battle. 'Cause I've been battling too. I've been battling too. I've been battling too.
So you just performed Battling for us. Thank you so much. That was really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
So thank you for being on Off the Record with us. Do you want to introduce yourself to people who may not be familiar with you?
My name's Levi Ray. I'm from right here in Fort Worth, born and raised. And among other things, I am a singer, songwriter, musician.
So born and raised, tell us about some of your Fort Worth influences on your music.
Fort Worth influences? Well, he may or may not know this. He's sitting over there. Is my dad, Gerald Ray. He's a musician, wonderful musician, and I've been seeing him play since I was born.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people that I've been to White Elephant Saloon and Billy Bob's more before the age of 10 than I have in all the years since then.
Mhm.
And it was to see him play, being pulled out on the dance floor with random women trying to teach me as a kid to dance.
Important life lessons.
Yeah. In Fort Worth, he doesn't live here anymore, but I call him my big brother. And but Jody Jones, Jacob Furr is another one, and me and Jacob are really good friends, and Jacob and I are really close to Jody. But he was here in Fort Worth for a while before he moved back to California. Jacob Furr is another Fort Worth influence. Townes Van Zandt is born in Fort Worth. He didn't live here a whole lot, but he's born and buried here.
I was gonna say, I think Austin likes to take him, take credit for him, but
well, he was born here.
So he's ours first.
Yeah, I don't know. There's lots, but those are the ones off the top of my head.
So where would you say your inspiration for your sound comes from, or genres? We know musical influences, but I guess for writing purposes.
Well, I like things that are super sincere, soulful, and honest and true. And doesn't mean that the song can't be fiction. It has to feel real. That's kind of anything that's like that. Anything that I can feel something from the lyrics and the melody, then I'm in. So it doesn't have to be any particular style of music, though.
I think all of your music is really wonderful, but I feel like your lyrics,
brutally honest.
your lyrics are just so heartfelt and really beautiful. I believe the title of the album that you have on Amplify is Sad Songs That Make You Happy.
Yeah.
Which I feel like upon first reading that, you're just kind of like, oh, but then you're like, no, that makes total sense. Yeah.
It's cathartic.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, plus it's when I started playing, that's just what came out. So
yeah. So I do want to talk a little bit about, because you are a musician, singer, songwriter, but I know you also have your other day gigs. You want to talk a little bit about that, because it's also involved in the Fort Worth community.
Well, I work for our little company, Thirst & Co., here in Fort Worth with Connor Dardis and Chris Luther, and just the three of us mainly. And we do the digital marketing and social media and graphic design and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So do that, and then we have another little company called Baby Boy Booking, and we book a couple of venues here in town. And what else do I do? I think that's it for now. and play music. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, do you want to talk a little bit about your favorite venues in Fort Worth? I always like to, or even outside of Fort Worth, maybe some of the best places you've played.
No, it's Amplify 817. Let's talk about Fort
Let's
Worth.
talk about Fort Worth.
Probably Lola's Fort Worth.
Yay, Lola's. We love Lola's.
I loved Mass, Main at Southside while it was still here.
R.I.P.
Sad.
Mass.
Yes. Tulips. I did my second that EP, the release show for that was at Tulips. Magnolia Motor Lounge. I love that place.
Do you feel like there's any hidden venues that you feel like more people should kind of check out?
I don't think people in Fort Worth realize what they have. They have a top 10 music city in the country.
Yes.
But it's, don't get me wrong, I love everybody, but I think people take it for granted here, especially people from Fort Worth.
Right.
You can go anywhere, on a weekend, and there's a 50-50 chance you might hear some live music if you go to. I feel
like a weekday too.
Weekday too. Yeah. You can go see music 7 nights a week here. You can go see 7 shows in one night in Fort Worth, and there's some of the best. There's people in Fort Worth that are so good that if there was justice in the world, they would be super famous.
Yeah.
And there's 15 of them, and they're here, and you can catch them any night of the week in your hometown.
Would you like to talk about any of your favorite musicians currently?
Jacob Furr is one of the best songwriters in the country.
We love
hands down.
Yeah,
he just is, and he's so good. A band like Arenda Light, they should be huge, and they might be. I mean, you know, it's like winning the lotto. You never know. Sometimes people that shouldn't be famous get famous, and sometimes the right people get famous. You never know. There's a bunch of people in town. Skylar Payne is really good. I love his voice. I mean, there's just world-class talent here. I mean, Michael Richardson can play any song.
Yeah.
Chris Luther can play any song.
Yes.
It's really fun to quiz him and see he's never lost. Yeah. So yeah.
That's always a fun game to play with musicians. They're just like, yeah, give me a minute, and then they think, and then yeah, I can play that, and then
it just comes out.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, that was just painless.
Like, fine then. All right.
Yeah, or
I'll go back over here and write my sad songs.
Yeah, we had to have a musician come in last minute. And I was like, can you get a band in time to play your music? And she was like, give me an hour. And she just had musicians who immediately just were able to do it on the fly. And it's amazing to me, people who can do that. I know if I was in that situation, I would panic.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's in their veins.
I have a band. We need to rehearse soon. Yeah.
A minimal rehearsal time.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of our musicians, especially Amplify, so a lot of them are born and raised in Fort Worth. And then we have a lot of people who are newish to Fort Worth or weren't born and raised here, but coming in. Why do you think people like coming to Fort Worth or like being part of the music community here?
Well, from what I've heard from people is that it's friendly.
Yes.
Connor with Thurston Co., you know, he's from Ireland, married a Texas girl, so he lives here now. But he said that Fort Worth is the first. He's lived all over the world and all over Europe, and he said Fort Worth is the first place he's ever went to that, at least in terms of how friendly people were, that he's ever been to since he left home.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool to hear. I think in general people are just. It's not quite as busy as Dallas, and it has more of a laid-back feel. And if you're anywhere in Fort Worth, you can pretty much drive 20 minutes in any direction, and you can probably be in the country. That may eventually turn into like an hour, but because it's growing so much. But
construction, traffic,
you're not far from cows in a field.
Yeah.
And I think for better or worse, that influences. I think in this case, for better, the more relaxed, nicer feel that it has.
Yeah, I always describe Fort Worth as a big city with a small town feel, but I feel like the music community is it's tight knit, but not too tight knit that it's not accepting of people. Like I think there's always willing to help somebody out or welcome a new person in.
Yeah, that like 100%, but like it's way more welcoming than a lot of other cities are for musicians who are starting out or who are moved here from somewhere else. It's when one person does get it, raises the whole profile of everybody else.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I like seeing, there's always a lot of mixed shows. I feel like Mass was always really good about it's just different. They'll book like a rock show, but it was always like kind of different genres, subgenres. But it was always kind of fun to see that. And it was always just bands who were like, well, we're friends, so why not just do a show together, even though their sounds weren't 100% alike.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing a show on Saturday that's like that.
Yeah, so. But I think most people have a pretty eclectic taste in music, and no one's just sticking with one particular genre. And I don't think anybody's doing just one genre anymore. I feel like everybody's sounds kind of take influence from different places.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're in Fort Worth or in Texas in general. It's more lean towards the Americana side, but another thing that Fort Worth has that people don't realize, it's one of the best blues cities in the country.
Absolutely. And jazz. Our jazz is very good here.
And there's a lot of blues musicians here in Fort Worth that they play in Fort Worth, and there's 10, 20 people there. And then they go to Kansas City or New Orleans, and there's 400 people there.
Yeah.
Or they go to Europe, and they're huge. And I've never been able to figure it out, but it's been this way my whole life. I think we have so much music and so many musicians that it's, from the public standpoint, maybe it all sort of runs together. I don't know.
Maybe. And some people said I know I've had some musicians say they can't find a venue for their genre. And I think some people have had difficulty with that, or maybe finding the audience to go to the venue that they're playing at in particular.
It's a twofold problem. But I mean, there's like a venue like Lola's has heavy metal, reggae, hip hop, super straight up country, anything you can imagine. Yeah. Tulips has all kinds of music.
Yeah, and I think it's,
they had a jazz band last night.
Yes, and I think we're getting more like sound techs and producers who are working at these venues who are willing, and bookers who are willing to book more than just being like, no, we only do a garage rock. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're in the stockyards, there's no reason to just have, and you want to appeal to tourists who want to just hear certain kind of music. Yeah. And
I do tell people that when we go through Amplify submissions, they always think like, oh, you must just be getting like 100 country groups. And I'm like, no, actually, we actually don't get as many country groups. We actually get a lot of folk Americana, a lot of rap and hip hop. We've got a really good rap and hip hop community here as well.
Yeah.
And several just different rock bands. We're getting more electronic and pop groups. It's kind of amazing to see what we have. So hopefully Amplify is showing that variety.
I forgot another venue I love in town. One of my very favorite places to play is Twilight Lounge.
Oh yes, Twilight Lounge. Yes, that's a good one.
When I was answering, I was like, I'm totally forgetting something. But
it happens.
I remembered.
Sometimes after the interview is when we remember, like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this person or for that venue. But
But all the venues I mentioned they're wonderful bars and venues, but they also have wonderful production staff, sound engineers. I was telling a good friend of mine, I met his parents, and it was Mark Randall from Mass, who now is running some sound at Lola's.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, it was a couple years ago when Mass won Venue of the Year, and I told Mark's parents, I said, so your son just won, the venue he works at just won Venue of the Year in the 4th Weekly Awards, and your son is the sound guy there, the production guy there, and every musician in town wants to play there because of how it sounds.
Yeah.
And Fort Worth is one of the top music cities in the country, and that makes your son one of the best sound engineers in the country.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. He's a good friend of mine, but he's really good at what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that's, again, like I've gone to several shows just around the country, and I think that's one of the big things that people don't think about is like having a good sound engineer there to just make sure everything goes well.
Blake Barker at Tulips, he's
fantastic.
On the ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were good friends with him too. He was actually one of our curators as well, so we're lucky to have him on board last year. So a question I do like to ask our musicians is, are you a library user, and does it surprise you that the library is doing music programming like this, like Amplify?
I use the Libby app.
Shout out to Libby, yes.
And I just got my card renewed, so I can use it again.
Yeah.
And that's mostly my library use. On my phone, I read on my phone.
Yeah, that and audiobooks on there. I think a lot of people don't realize we have electronic audiobooks as well. So,
well, one of my favorite things when I was a kid was to go to a library and just, I don't know, it was just super peaceful. Even if I didn't read, I could just sit there.
Yeah.
I was a very, very shy kid. And so being at the library, and I could sit by myself, and it was air conditioning, and it was nice, and it was quiet, and it was peaceful, and I could, whenever I wanted, on my own time, go look for a book. I have very fond memories of libraries.
Yeah, and we're still that space for people. Absolutely, if you just want to come. We are a free space where you're not obligated to buy things. I mean, I feel like you can go to coffee shops and things, and you're not obligated to buy anything, but
it's one of the few places that's a public place that nothing is asked of you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, besides, the be a civilized person.
Yeah. Just, when we close,
screaming.
Yeah. It's screaming. You can talk.
Yeah.
You take a phone call at school, but just don't yell. Please.
Yeah. I don't like yelling.
We have we don't shush anymore. We like to tell people that we're not a shushing library. Like, we have very fun, loud music story times, and we do adult programs, and people are laughing and enjoying themselves. And so we're not going to shush you.
We're in the story time section right now.
We are. We're in the children's section right now. They usually have the most space in our library, so.
That's Dr. Seuss behind us, is it? No,
Possibly.
It's not. I thought it was.
We're in the R's.
We're in the R's.
Yeah. But I guess, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that I missed or?
Well, I want to thank y'all for what you're doing. It's such a cool thing, and it's the city and it's the library. I mean, as musicians or artists of any kind, anything to have your voice heard more is an awesome, great, huge thing. Yeah. So
music is a very important part of cities and communities and the public and memories, and we're glad that we can be a small part into the music community. So So thank you.
It's a big part of the culture, Fort Worth culture here. Yeah.
But musicians like you are what help us also kind of get our name out and help people around. So we really appreciate
all the time. Yeah. Well, thank you.
I know you've got a couple more songs for us, so we'll wrap this up. But thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Sun is shining my front door. Do we hesitate? We should ask for more. You whisper love in my ear. Metaphor is never enough. It's been 10,000 years in the light of the dust. We are bound by song, mountain and rain. Sun is shining my front door. Rain is pouring my front door. Sun is shining on my front door. The wonder of time and the damage of lies. Will we trip on the truth? Is the truth or disguise? Dare we fear our time is near? Metaphor is never enough. It's been 10,000 years in the song, mountain named rain. Sun is shining my front door. Rain is pouring my front door. The sun is shining on my front door. Sun is shining on my front door. The rain is pouring on my front door. Sun is shining on my front door. Past few months, mostly paying bills on time. Been cooking more and more, eating better. Not sure about all the rest of my days. Worried they might be long gone and away. Miss my friends and my family and the way things used to be. Working at a little way, for my habits got in the way. What's gonna stop me now? What's gonna stop me now? Progress is too slow for those that want it most. Don't want too long for anything. Just move along with you by my side and leave all the rest behind. Forgetting our past is not the way that it goes. Working at a middle way, for my habits got in the way. What's gonna stop me now? What's gonna stop me now? Too introspective and alone in my thoughts. She's a song about the gray inside of me. I remember your silly walk and your sweet laugh, lying on our couch in our house. Dogs asleep everywhere and too much to dream. nights I hear the wind blow, trees rustling down, shaking this house. Can't tell if I wanna be lifted up or knocked down. Guess I close my eyes, dream of better days, working at a middle way, for my habits got in the way. What's gonna stop me now? What's gonna stop me now? What's gonna stop me now? What's gonna stop me now?
Off the Record is produced by the Fort Worth Public Library in support of our dynamic Fort Worth arts and cultural community. Amplify 817 is made possible in part through the financial support of the Fort Worth Public Library Foundation and community support of Here Fort Worth.